Hi everyone! Welcome to another episode of a Students to Classified Market Supporting Guide. As always, I'm happy you're here and I hope you've been enjoying the segment so far. Today we'll be exploring a versatile yet very relevant career path that has blown up exponentially since the internet was created. Content creation. None of us are strangers to it. In fact, if you're listening to this, you're listening to a form of content creation right now. It's such an expansive avenue that everyone can leverage. And that's where you get this beautiful individualism or collaboration of content that inspires others to pave their own way. It's a cycle that never gets boring, yet it always is unique because it's based on interpretation through one's passion. For this second episode, we have not one, but two special guests that have captured their own content creation styles that changed the game. Ely Honkpo and Nathaniel Waite. Ely is a content creator, creative director, and photographer who's created campaigns with Adobe, Nike, Hollister, Coach, and more. I could go on for days. Ian is a content creator whose content surrounds his authentic vulnerability, words of encouragement, and his work as an actor, which is pretty good. While they each develop differing audiences, the dynamic duo overlaps in two ways that makes them successfully stand out. They consistently create content that shows other people how to do what they're doing, but they fully encourage people to use their trials and tribulations to successfully make their own creative ways too. In fact, Ian's tagline on his Instagram is literally, "Watch me grow and fall while I progress through it all." Ely literally creates resources and tutorials on his Instagram to show people exactly what he does to get the content that he makes. Throughout the episode, Ian and Ely candidly talk about their upbringings, what brought them together, and their key ideologies that are instrumental into how they create content. Their social media pages will be linked down below in the show notes. Be sure to check them out. I promise you won't regret it. With that, let's dive into the episode. Hi, Ely. Hi, Ian. How are y'all?
Doing great.
I'd love to hear that. And I would love for you guys to start us out by just letting us know, who are y'all? What are y'all about?
My name is Ian Nathaniel Waite, the one and only. I tend to do acting and modeling and such. I do pretty well in that field. I also recently started doing content creation with my boy Ely. He's been helping me out, but I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Yeah, I already know who is on this microphone. You feel me? It's your boy Ely Honkpo. I'm a creative director, fashion photographer, but I dabble in content creation and commercial editing. I'm trying to get into acting nowadays, but we'll see where that takes me.
Wow, that's awesome. And it seems like you guys overlap quite a bit. I would love to hear a little bit more about how you guys each got into what you guys are doing now. So what made you want to get into content creation, acting, filming, photography? Let us know. One at a time, please. Of course. I know you guys have a lot to say, but
For acting, definitely when I was young, because I used to be terrible at reading. I had a speech impediment. And I hated reading. I hated it. My mom will always be like, "Ian, you need to practice. You need to work on your speech." And I was like, no, I don't need to work on that. I hate reading. But she was so adamant on it. And so I was like, okay, well, I started taking speech classes. And then after taking speech classes, I had this one language arts class. It was it was with Miss Wash. And she was like, when you read, you can act it out. And I was like, why would I ever do that? And so one day she was like, okay, I want you to go up to in front of the class, and I want you to read this this paragraph or whatever. And I started reading it, and as I was reading, she was like, no, I want you to put more character in it. I want you to be in tune with it. And I was like, you're so weird. So anyways, I was like, okay, fine, I'll try. And as I was reading, I actually, without even noticing, I was actually getting into the character. And everybody in the classroom was like, wow, you're really doing that. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. And then later on too, in my life, I grew up watching Will Smith. My favorite movie was I, Robot. If you don't know what I, Robot is, you definitely need to check it out. But anyways, I was watching iRobot. I remember getting it on DVD, and I remember there was a feature where you get to watch behind the scenes. And I saw Will Smith practicing his lines, and like he had this piece of paper and stuff like that. In my head, when I was young, I thought acting was more so like a thing where it's just like, oh, you just do it on the spot. You just act as a character, and then you just display that character. They don't really give you any lines. They don't give you any like description or anything. It's just like, this is what I want. This is what I want you to do. Little did I know. And then my mom explained to me and broke it down. It was like, no, like these people act, they act and they read a script. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then the more I got into it, the more I was like, damn, like that's so fascinating. And as I like continued to watch his films over time, I just got more intrigued. And then I told my mom, I said, hey, I want to do acting. And she was like, okay, I'll sign you up for John Casablanca. That is a acting studio. I think it was the acting and modeling studio. But she signed me up in Louisiana, and I went for my first class. And ever since then, I was hooked on. Yeah, that's my story. That's how I really got into acting. And I enjoyed every bit of it. Still do to this day. And yeah. But I don't want to. I can go on forever for that. I'm gonna let Ellie, So.
That's awesome.
Oh, really?
Like, I love that. I love that story. As far as me in photography, I was always an artistic person. I was a visual artist before I got into actually being a photographer. I used to draw animations actually, and I wanted to be an animator and make like shows and movies and stuff like that and animated films. And then at the time, I really just got a new camera, and I would express myself in any which way that I could, really. So like when I got a phone at the time, like a new phone, I just took a photo of just a rose in my garden, or my mom's garden in the backyard, and I thought it was super cool. And I showed my mom, she was like, meh. And then I was just like, okay. And then I took it to my friend Kevin's house. He lived across the street, and he was like, yo, that picture's really good. And shout out to Kevin, because really he's the only reason why like I created a photography page, like actually.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and like because we just walked around our neighborhood and started taking pictures of nature, trees, ants, flowers, like whatever we could find. And he was like, yo bro, like your pictures are actually like, good, like you should like post them on like Instagram. And I was like, bro, what? Like I was just like, it just sounded like a weird idea to me. Like,
and what phone were you using during the time?
A Samsung Galaxy S6.
I used to have one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, like that. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie, at the time it was a great camera. Like it was really good. And like he was just like, yo, make a page for it. And I thought he was literally crazy. And I was like, but after I sat on it for like a week, I was like, you know what, I'll make a page. But I made it anonymous. I didn't want anyone to know that it was me.
Yeah.
And I just started posting my work on there, but not in like in a way to where I wanted people to see it. It was just more like to have a collection of my own photos somewhere.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until I started taking photos of my longest friend, Jean, and that's when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna like put my name in my like bio at least. Yeah. And I started posting like John. I was still taking pictures on my phone. And then about 3 years into taking pictures, I finally got a camera, which is my T6, Canon T6. And I've been using that for like the last 4 years after. And really it just helped me develop my style, because there were so many disadvantages with it that like people would point out like, oh, it's too grainy, or oh, the quality's not as great. And like I would just kind of use it to my advantage by shooting in like a film style way and like things of that nature. And it kind of helped me develop, like, I guess, using like your disadvantages to like your strengths in a way.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like how it kind of like just came into it. And then like I just kept posting it on Instagram, and then like I was just taking pictures of people at school, like my peers, prom pictures, senior pictures, homecoming, stuff like that. And then it wasn't until COVID hit, and that was when I had a reason to like get onto like making TikTok content.
Yeah.
Because I had no intentions of going to college. Like it was more just like I knew whatever I wanted to do was going to be in the artist realm, but I knew that like college personally just wasn't what I wanted to do. Like I told my parents that since I was like 9 that
That's
I didn't
Yeah,
want to
I
go.
never wanted to go to college.
Yeah, like I was just like, no. But my parents are West African. They were not going for that. And like they were like, oh no, like you're going to college. We didn't come to America for you to not to go to college and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's so traditional.
You know, like, and like my sisters, I have 2 older sisters, and they like went into that route for sure. Like my oldest sister went to like the business world, my other sister went to the medical field.
Oh wow.
So it was just like,
oh yeah, there was no room for you. Like absolutely not.
literally not. And they were so strict about like academics and stuff like that. And it was just like, for me, it just did not compute. Like even as a kid, I was just like, nope. I just wanted to like be an artist, I guess. But to them, it was really crazy. And I understand that too, because like, well, where they came from, that's like not really a common way to like come up. So,
Yeah.
you know, it was just kind of one of those situations. But when COVID came around, I graduated in 2020. They were like, well, you're going to college? Like, what's the deal? And I was just like, no, I didn't even take my SAT. Like I was literally not going to college. Like I was
not doing none of that.
Nah, because I didn't see the point in it. Like I didn't see the point of like preparing for something that I wasn't gonna go
That
to.
you didn't want to do, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was just like, nah. But with COVID, I was actually scared because like one, I lost my job at Sparkles, like literally peak COVID. So I had no job, and then I was trying to like, I guess, get business with my photography, but that wasn't going because of COVID.
Yeah.
Right.
And like, so it was just kind of like, dang, like I was like really panicking actually, but I was still trying to like shoot whenever I could, I guess, with friends. And then it wasn't until like August I started shooting. I saw a commercial behind the scenes for my friend Khalil for his hair brand. And from then on, I kind of just started shooting people in the social media world. And then since they were like more creative and like they needed like more content for real, I was able to like work with them like on a regular basis versus like the people I went to school with that didn't really need pictures like that, you know?
Right.
So it kind of worked out in that way. And then as years passed, I realized I learned a lot with photography and just with content creation from working with influencers and content creators. So I decided to start making content circled around just helping my personal community of like photographers, creative directors, you know, anyone that does anything behind the scenes, just learning about their camera, whether it's like a beginner camera like a T6 or a more advanced camera. I started to just make content to help the community out because I saw that not a lot of people make like genuine.
They don't make that like resourceful content.
Yeah.
And I think that's something unique to both of y'all that I see, that you always are making videos to help other people out in figuring out photography. And then I know you've just started with content creation and talking about this is my strategy or these are the strategies that I'm looking at and giving people that advice of if you're looking to like upscale yourself or you want to reach a bigger audience or learning about that stuff as you're going along, you still provide that information to others as well. Like both of you are very open with your way of creativity and working, not just to that.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be. It's like, I feel like people think like if you gatekeep, like you're like doing something for yourself to where it's like, oh, okay, like no one can copy me, but like no one's really, even if someone like tried to mimic your style, like no one's gonna do it like you, I feel like, you know.
Yeah, and I try to be as open as I can with it, with social media because like I know when starting out, it was really hard for me. Ellie knows.
Yeah.
Freaking, I was always looking up videos. I was like looking at other content creators. Hell, there have been times when I asked like social media coaches and they wouldn't respond back to me. So everything was trial and error. And then, you know, I just thought to myself, I was like, yeah, maybe I should like express to like pretty much my audience that like what I'm going through, because there was a time I was so frustrated. I was like, dang, like why is everyone gatekeeping or just like keeping it to themselves? And I remember one time, like I think you mentioned it, Ellie, you were just like sometimes like even like influencers or just like people in that world, they just tend or have the tendency to just like keep things to themselves because they don't want other people doing either better than them or whatever. It's just not really like a team thing. Even
it's not collaborative.
Competitive.
Yeah.
It's very competitive. People are actually competing with each other as creators, which I find super confusing.
It's weird. It's
yeah,
weird.
because like really it's the algorithm that I guess like people should be trying to compete against, not like each other as creators.
Yeah.
It's weird.
There's room for all of you. And
Yeah.
I feel like both of you are on the same synergy almost all of the time. So I would love to know, how did you guys meet?
Oh man,
That's a story.
the very first time, I moved. I used to live in Louisiana. And in 2005 when Hurricane Katrina came, I moved to Kennesaw, and I lived in Kennesaw for like 2 years. And I went to Kennesaw Elementary School. And guess who I saw?
Your boy.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
And then I moved after those 2 years and went back to Louisiana. And then I think in 2014, 2015, I came back. And then later on, I met a person, and I got acquainted with them. And then later down the road, we were looking for an apartment. We were looking for a place, but we had to go to Town Center Mall. And as I was driving, I see a individual walking out, and I was like, "Is that who I think it is?" And
Yeah.
I literally, I know Ellie was like, "Yo, what's this car
I was
doing right
looking
now?"
at that man like, who is this car rolling up?
On you.
Yeah, like mad slow. Yes.
But yeah, no, I up on him, and I was like, "Yo, are you like Ellie?" And he's like, "Yeah." And at first he kind of looked at me crazy. He's like, "Who are you?" And but then once he like registered, he realized that like I think we saw each other on social media.
Yeah, we were following each other on Instagram for like a good minute, for at least
Okay.
like 2 years prior
Before
to
that,
this. Yeah,
yeah.
like and I would recognize his face for sure,
Mhm.
but we were unaware that like we had met like back in like
Back
second
in-
grade.
yeah.
We didn't know about that until like way later on.
We had to get I think it's the yearbook.
Yeah,
the
it was a yearbook.
and we looked through and we were like, "Oh, wait a minute."
Yeah, I like saw him and I was like, wait, I know that kid. And then I looked to see what his name was and I was like, that's him. I was like, that's Ian. Cause I recognized his face as a kid, but like I was like, I knew him from like ASAP, like the after school.
Yeah, after school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
I was like, it like unlocked a memory when I
Oh,
saw
y'all
him.
have like a deep rooted history.
Yeah.
Really crazy.
It was wild. And then after that, no, like we talked it up, and then later on we met up with another friend, and then ever since then it's just been on.
Y'all just can't get away from each other.
Yeah.
We tried.
There was an arc where we like definitely all like were in our own like worlds, I guess. Like we all kind of separated and did our own thing. But then like the universe dead brought us back
For
together.
No, for
Like for
real.
real. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So wild.
Yeah.
That's like 3 different like instances or coincidences. of
Yeah,
y'all
yeah.
being
no.
together.
Yeah.
It's the fact that I even moved to a whole different state.
And then when you came back,
And
Yeah.
the odds of running back into this guy.
that's so funny.
like what? I was like,
Yeah.
You thought it was
"No
over?
way."
That's hilarious.
And I was just there at the mall for like no real reason. Like I literally just was super bored that day.
Well, that was a reason.
Oh yeah, facts. You know, literally. It was so crazy. So crazy.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Life is wild. Life is definitely wild.
Clearly. And I feel like you guys work on definitely some wild projects. I feel like you guys being together now after all this time and then working together, I want to know what that's like now. So being in that collaborative, creative space with each other, whether it's your individual projects and supporting one another or if it is working together.
Oh man, working with this guy. Man, he's always spinning ideas. He's no matter what, even when we're on the phone, we'd be on the phone for hours. All we talk about is ideas. That's it. It's just like, yo, we need to do this. We need to do this, that. No, this will be nice. This will be cool all the time. And like, I love that about him because it's just like, it motivates me to also want to do more.
Yeah.
And it's just like, whenever I hear him talking, now there times when I'm just like, oh yeah, he's just talking. But I love that because he's passionate. You can tell what like anytime he talks, he's super passionate about whatever he does, and like he's always a go-getter about it. Because like, yeah, he may not do it now, but he will do it eventually. It never leaves his mind ever.
Yeah.
Even though he's forgetful. No,
Very forgetful.
but when he gets reminded, or like when there's a moment that's going on within his life, he's just like, oh yeah, we're gonna knock this out right now. And I
Yeah.
love that. I love people who execute. I love people who like want more for themselves.
Who
So.
stand on business.
Yeah. Stand up. One man army against 50.
Stand
up.
up.
But in projects and stuff, yeah, we worked on it. And it's been very eventful, very thrilling, school or whatever. I mean, like working with him and shit like that. But I do enjoy working with Ely for sure. Great guy. Do I think he's an idiot sometimes? Absolutely. But no, he's definitely a person that that he's an executor. He's not someone who just said just say things just to say things. He's going to do those things. So, and that's the type of energy that I have. So it just works. It collides.
Yeah, it definitely works. Working with Ian, literally, his determination. Well, okay, I mean, as of when it comes to just our friendship dynamic, it's always entertaining. It's never boring. Even when we have our conversations, we're talking about straight work, it's still fun to have.
Yes.
But when it comes to just when we're in work mode, his determination is better than anyone else I've ever worked with ever. For sure. Because not a lot of people have that mindset where it's they're genuinely going to keep doing what they're doing no matter what the scenario, what the situation, what circumstances they're under.
Yeah.
Some people are really quick to give up, and this life that we're trying to build for ourselves is not made for the weak. And it's just one of those things where it's you can't really put those glasses on somebody else. They kind of really just have to already see life that way and be willing to run that race.
Stuff.
Yeah, literally.
Run that risk.
You don't know when the finish line is going to be. It's something I always like to say, because it's starting anything. I feel it's not even just about being a creative or an artist. It's really just anytime you're trying to start anything for yourself where you're not trying to go a traditional route of stuff, you really have to be willing to run a race without knowing when the finish line is. It's not even a marathon for real. It's literally just an endless running thing. And even when you feel like you made it, you never really made it, because I feel when the moment you feel content with where you are, actual contentment with where you are, then that's kind of where I guess you peak, because there's a curve. I believe there's a curve in everything. You know what I mean? There's always gonna be an increase, you know what I'm saying, and then you get your peak, and then you get to your decline. It happens in everything.
It's
no
literally
matter what you do.
A wavelength.
Yeah,
up and down continuously.
100%.
Yeah.
And you can never ever stop the decline, which I find that people get so stressed about that. They get so stressed about the fall off.
Yeah.
And it's just that's inevitable, but it's more about you need to understand. Only thing you could do is really delay it. You can slow it down the process. We could use Drake for an example. Drake's been around for forever, but he's definitely not at the peak of his career anymore. But you wouldn't notice that because he's delaying.
It's the longevity.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And but there's gonna come a time where it's it's gonna be a slow decline, and then you have to just know when, have that awareness to jump the curve onto something new. I feel
And that's, I also wanted to note it too. Even when what do you call it? We recently had a conversation, me and Ely, and we were talking about pretty much that. But when Ely was, I think you were saying just because I'm where I'm at right now, I still feel this is the beginning. And I was just that's crazy, because
you've done a lot. You've worked with
Thank you so much.
You've worked with a lot of different brands that I'm pretty sure a lot of us can recognize. They're not any type of small companies and stuff. If you'd like to elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, I've worked with Adobe, Coach, Hollister, Boohoo Man, and Fashion Nova. Just
no big deal.
Well,
little light work.
I guess I want to turn myself into a brand, and until I get there, I'm not done.
Yeah, always working. Right now we're trying to. Well, can I? Oh yeah, freaking! We're trying to convert this guy Ely's Playhouse into a fashion content type of realm.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm excited. I'm actually extremely excited, because you can tell. Look at it.
No, I was about to say, literally anybody who has seen you out, you already know that's Ely.
It's very distinctive. It's
so sweet.
Oh shit. No, that's Matt.
Stop, chill.
Literally, not too long ago when we were out, we went thrifting, and as we were, I think we went to Second Street. That recently just opened up.
Yeah.
And we saw the options there. I'm not impressed. But regardless, we were walking out, and as we were walking out, literally he got stopped. He's like, "Oh my, your outfit!" You're I was like, that boy was like,
wow. I try to I don't know, when it comes to compliments. I'm trying to get better at accepting them. I'm pretty weird when it comes to that stuff.
Same.
Yeah.
I suck at that.
Yeah.
I suck at that.
You both do. Like,
Well, dang, calling us out like that.
No, it's so hard. It's hard. Anytime I get any compliments at all, I usually tend to get very shy, and then I get very weird, and then I'm just like, yo, like stop, like
and
don't do that.
let's talk about that a little bit more.
Uh-huh.
I actually have like, I wonder about a lot of creatives in their spaces and in their minds. You guys are always working to put this next thing out, do what you hold yourself to, right?
Right.
And all of these big things that you want to accomplish and all these things that you want to do. But then what happens when it comes to getting that recognition for it and all of these forms of acceptance? How is your mind shifted towards accepting these new realms of audiences that you guys are garnering with your followings and what you're continuing to do? How do you feel like you are adapting to your new roles as creatives who are becoming well known?
I know I have to be a little bit more cautious with my audience and things like that, for sure, because I like how I speak. I'm a loving person. And whenever I talk to my audience, they tend to like trauma dump a lot. Which is fine because right now, like my main content was relatable content, and a lot of people are able to relate, and they feel like they can come to me and talk about the things that they got going on, which is totally fine. I'm gonna talk about it, but sometimes it gets to a degree where it's just like I can't really help.
Yeah,
I can give you advice and like maybe some guidance, but other than that, no. And I had some incidents where like some people was like, why aren't you talking to me? Like, why don't you blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I just can't do that all the time. Maybe once in a while, I'll, spread some wisdom. But other than that, no. And not only that too, it's also hard to get used to too when like people do compliment me or say like, oh, you're so blah, blah, blah. Like I had one person say which was wild, that they would like get on all four knees and like look
that's
at me like
insane.
and I was like, that's different. And then like I had one where there's like, yo, I want to know your location like right now.
That's too much.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm just like, okay, people who follow you, the moment you make a mistake, like they might have the tendency to try to like F you over or just be like, or paint you as something that like that you're not. And it very quickly be like, just like the incident I was just talking about earlier, like I wasn't being attentive to this one person and they're like, oh, you
now they're going off about it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's just like, that's something to get used to because I want to help everyone. I definitely have a hero complex, but then again, too, I can't do that for everyone.
You can't save everyone. As much as you have that hero complex, you can't save
exactly. So it's just, it's. I mean, I adjusted, but it kind of sad. It made me a little bit sad. It made me. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I can't really because you're acting weird.
I can understand.
But yeah, no, and I'm afraid of like those type of incidents where it's just like also people just converting your words into like something else, something negative.
Yeah. Being a public figure like that, you're having to adjust and put up new boundaries that you normally wouldn't have to because your life was just so yours at the time. And then now being front facing in the places that you are and that you're going, it has to have this like balance of moderation of where you can be with your audience, but also, hey, y'all don't know me still. Let's remember that I'm still also a human being and not just a personality online.
Exactly. Because I even crazy. I even met up with some of my followers.
Oh, wow.
And there's only been one follower that was actually cool. Well, no, two followers. One was named Summer.
Oh, shout out Summer.
Summer was cool.
Shout out to Summer.
Cool. Because I FaceTime her and everything and stuff like that. She's super cool. Definitely have to visit her in New York. Oh, well, I guess technically I didn't really meet her. Never mind. Take that back. But there was one person I met up with. No, actually, there was two people. And And yeah, it went south, and they looked at me as something like much more than like
what you
yeah
put yourself as.
and they were just like saying all this stuff. I got all this blah blah blah, and they were just being super weird, and it kind of made me standoffish of like meeting up with people now. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's just like
It didn't feel
wow.
genuine.
Yeah, it did it, and they were just like, "Oh, so like, what do you do?" Like blah blah blah, and then also like, why aren't you talking to me? Like we met, didn't we? Like we hung out and all this other stuff. I was like, yeah, it was cool. Now you're like being a little weird, and I just like I don't know. And yeah, ever since then, I just been a lot more cautious with that, and I will still meet up with like people who like support me and things like that. I think I'll just have a more I think I'll do it in a better environment. Such as like maybe having like a meetup and then like at a cafe and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I invited this person when I was with Xander to my place, and I was like, "Oh, you want to come over?" Because I'm very chill. Ellie knows that I'm very open. To my place, and yeah, no, that just did not go well. Xander was not feeling it. I wasn't feeling it, and yeah, no. But anyone's lesson learned. Just not to really put.
You've definitely tried to embrace people how you normally embrace people in your lives that are in your personal, environment, and you clearly learned that they're not. Like,
no. I just. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just like, I thought they were gonna be cool.
I think it's just you thinking like normally. So like how you are away from the camera and treating everyone like, oh, you're just da 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 da, and then you realize you're at a completely different place where people don't view you like that. It's not like oh, this is just a friend that I know or whatever, like besties. It's more of I'm here. This person is really involved in where I'm at because they follow me, they want to interact with me, they want to do all these things. And so you guys have completely different views. You're looking at them as like friend, and they're looking at you as like, you're a content creator that I follow and I can relate to you in XYZ. So
it was so bad.
It's like your first kind of feel with that. And I completely understand that. You are so much better than me. I can leave that there. But
oh gosh,
it's so interesting to kind of hear like your first experiences of what you've been going through in that realm. And I don't know if you've experienced any of that, Ellie, or what your thoughts are in that realm.
For me is really different from him because his content is surrounded by like personal like relatable type of things. Mine's like more like educational, teaching you about stuff. So I've had instances where I've run into people who have followed me. Like I'll go to this place called Aperture Rent and like I'll rent out like, like
your equipment.
Yeah. And I've run into like people like, they're like, oh, like, don't you make like videos online, or I'll go to the studio and like sometimes people will like be like, oh, like I've seen your videos before, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it's always love. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, yo, thank you, man. Like, like, and they're always like super, super chill about it. Cause they don't really know much about me. Like I don't really post about myself.
Yeah.
So like when people, I guess, come up to me and like talk to me about stuff, it's usually always within that same like niche. Like maybe they might ask me some questions like straight up like, hey, like I had this issue with my camera, blah 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 blah, and like I'll lead them in the right direction if I can, you know what I'm saying, if I got the knowledge on deck, but
okay, tech support,
but there was only one time where I actually met up with a follower and his name was Thomas. Shout out to Thomas.
So cool.
Thomas is a great guy.
Thomas is a great guy.
Like literally Ian and I recently did like a shoot with him with our friend Tavi, and it was really well. It went really, really great. The vibes were amazing.
He's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, he really is. And one of my old friends like told me about him, and like she was just like, yo, like there's this guy named Thomas, he goes to my church, like he really likes your stuff, he's been following you for like super, super long. I'm like, whoa, like what, like that's awesome, like what's his Instagram? And like I followed him back, and then like we talked over DM, and then like I asked him, I was like, yo bro, you want to come to like one of my shoots, like you could just like whatever. And then he pulled up, I told him like, yo bro, take your pictures, you know what I'm saying, go ahead, do your thing, you know what I'm saying. And like it was just great vibes with him. He was really sweet. But I've never had like an instance where like they were like that.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna have to, because for me, like I'm trying to like he said with like the fashion stuff, I'm gonna have to start implementing myself more really. So that's like my transition, because I am really an introvert at heart. Photography has made me more extroverted and stuff like that. But at heart, I'm definitely an introvert. I definitely like to be in my own like energy, and I love talking to people, but it is something that I had to learn how to do.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna be an interesting transition when I get into like the fashion where I start implementing myself more. That's gonna be more of
I think that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm definitely nervous at the same time.
I mean, understandable. Anytime you're starting something new, it's always going to be something a little bit like nerve-wracking because this is a place that you've never been in. This is like an unknown place, but it's that drive, oh, I want to be in this so badly. I want to do this for myself, that really gets to push people over.
Yeah.
And it seemed like both of you have very like yin yang energy. So, and I want to elaborate in that of like how you are working on now bringing more of yourself out, right? And Ian's already done that, right? And then Ian's working to kind of build himself up in that audience of the things that he's getting to do of like content creation and being an actor. And you have experience in like, oh, I've done this content creation kind of similarly, where you guys are able to assist each other in various different ways. And I want to know for both of you, as you guys, like you said, you're developing your own brand now and you're working to essentially build yourselves up. What things that you feel like you had to learn that you would have wished somebody would have taught you or that you would have been warned about before? Or anything that would have made it easier?
Oh, freaking people. Like, people will support you, like, in the beginning, but once you start going up or start making actual real progress, people are no longer as attentive. They're like, oh, well, good for you. And it's just like, it's kind of hurtful. And, you know, there's definitely been some incidents where, you know, in the beginning, I was like, oh, these people are going to support me all the way up.
Yeah.
Like, all the way up. And no, that was not the case. And like, and don't get me wrong, like, I knew about that. I was aware of that, but like for it to happen to me,
I
was
just
just
think
like,
that some things will happen to you, you know?
yeah, I was like, what? I was like, dang, like you were like always like my stuff. You were supporting it, sharing it, and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden you just stop. You're just like, oh yeah, cool, great for you. And then also too, like, people kind of treat you a bit differently as well. And that kind of sucks. Which I was just like, what? I'm still me. I'm still Ian Nathaniel Waite. I'm still loud and, you know, energetic. Yeah, I'm still loud and energetic. I haven't changed. And if I change for the better. But no, yeah, I wish someone told me about that, for sure, because that definitely broke my heart. Because I love people. You know what I mean? Though I talk a lot of crap about people, but I love people. But nonetheless, yeah, I wish someone did warn me about that. I think also too, freaking when starting out with social media, the algorithm, I wish people told me how difficult that thing really is, because it was definitely a journey. It wasn't just like overnight thing. It wasn't. It was definitely like post after post after post,
being consistent.
Because a lot of people, you know, even these social media coaches and stuff like that, they just make it seem it's just like that. It's like, oh, you just post this and then it's gonna work out. No, it was a lot of research, a lot of like frustration, a lot of just like, you know, I have to keep going despite what anyone thinks, and that too. Oh man, like, I mean, it correlates back to what I was saying earlier, but like when people come straight to your face and telling you like, oh, you're cringe, you know, like, like what you're doing is so cringy. And I was not expecting that at all. And even though I have thick skin and stuff, but there was from some people that I was close with that was like, oh, you're posting that weird content. I was like, why
would you be like that?
Yeah. So I wish someone warned me about that. I wish someone told me ahead of time that like the people that was close with you they may either, you know, stay along the ride or, you know, get dropped off. So yeah, that's what I definitely wish for. I was definitely getting.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
No. That I think it definitely gave me character development, because it just made me want to go even further, and just to prove myself wrong. Because at one point I was in my head, I was like, damn, like I really do hope like this works out. But then again too, I was like, you know what, screw it. I never really cared what anyone thought of me.
Why now?
So yeah, exactly. So why now? So I just kept going, and I remember the moments when I was saw the views, and I was just happy if I got one view. I was
It's
just
like
happy.
that.
I was like, one person saw it, then later on, like 50 people saw it, then 200 people saw it, then 300, and then I remember, man, I'll never forget when like I made a video and I was telling myself, my future self, I was like, yeah, man, one day you're gonna hit like a million views. In the next couple of weeks, I hit a million views, and I was just so happy. And that's another thing, spreading good news to people that don't really care. Like, cause when I told them, and I was like, oh yeah, 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 there's like, oh wow, like,
That's cool.
yeah, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
good job for you. And I was like, what the fuck? If like I'm not just doing this for me, I'm doing this for everybody, for my community. And
You
so
think
like
you have a collective mindset. It seems like both of you have a collective mindset in that way.
he's about to tell you. I know he know
Yeah.
his stuff. He got done it.
Yo, I mean, like, I guess for me, it was similar to that, as in like people kind of feel like you don't need their support anymore. Like the people that like you, kind of like, in the beginning, that's like, yo, like you have a small community, like each person like that's like helping you put out your stuff, and like I guess like when like they start to actually see it like happening for you, it's like they kind of just feel like you don't
Drop
need them
off.
anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, like I love you. Like why like what? Like what's going on? And like it's pretty crazy how in that way, and people kind of develop like a image of who you are, especially
Now, yeah.
for sure. And it's like we essentially kind of like grew up together low key, and it's like now I'm like a totally different person to you because
Because of what I'm doing now.
yeah, and it's kind of strange. It's really weird. And but then it's like you get the reverse of like people who are like people I've had like super close to me, that where it's like they, I was doing what I was doing then, and it was kind of like ridiculous to them at the time, like me like pursuing that like pathway, and then now it's like more of a thing, and it's like, oh, like now it's like they kind of like want to show you off in a way, and it's
Show you off, I think, is a perfect way of
and it's kind of, it makes you feel like, I don't know,
like a prize, like
Yeah,
a trophy almost, that they're just looking at you.
it's kind of weird. Like it's one thing if me and you are talking about it, like whatever. But it's like I've had so many instances where like people will bring me around, people I don't even know, total strangers, and
Just
like,
because.
yeah, and then we'll talk about like certain things that I'll do or people that I'll work with, just to like,
Just to say it.
Just to
and just
say
to be
it.
like, yeah, it's not their accomplishments, but in the way that they're speaking about you and yours, it feels like it's an
Yeah.
accomplishment of like just getting to be around you.
yeah, and it was kind of just like it's like a weird, and you can't really like be negative towards that either, because it's like it's still a form of love in a way, but it's just kind of like
Fake love.
it's, it's like I don't know, because I don't want to like you don't want to offend anybody, I guess, at least for as far as
Yeah.
like how I want to go about it. I don't really want to like make people feel like I didn't appreciate their love, but it's like kind of like, well, if I see you kind of acting weird towards me, or like it's like a situational thing, then like I'm gonna have to like move accordingly, like because having that type of energy around, and like the way, in like the world that we're trying to go, and the world that we're in now, even like further, not like it's different from like the rest of the world, but I guess like we had to isolate ourselves and like really cancel out all the noise, and like when you're in that like mindset, like who you do have around you in your circle
It's
is like,
super.
super important.
Look
It
at us
really
now.
translates.
It
We had a
used to be more.
huge group.
We had a huge group.
We had a huge group of
huge
people, and like
group.
now it's literally just us. So we were looking at memories the other day, and it's like this man's room was filled up, like
Filled with people.
filled with
all
people.
the
It was such a
time.
vibe, friendsgivings and everything, and like now we're like here, and it's like a combination of like situations and just people kind of doing their own thing, and like just life being life. But like
Yeah.
it's crazy how like pretty much majority of those people kind of feel like we're different, when it's
Yeah.
like
They feel entitled to this new opinion
yeah.
that just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, but at the same time, they can have it, because like we are being like
You're in a different level than where you were. You're in a
Yeah.
different energy now, and like a different phase of where you're trying to get.
Definitely, for sure, because like during that time we were always trying to like help them out. Like if they if they wanted to do social media, we was like, yeah, do it. Like we were
Yeah.
always supportive no matter what.
whatever your dream was, for sure, we wanted you to do it. We wanted to do it to the highest degree.
Yeah.
And we still wish that.
Sure.
It's just now like we don't get that same love back from those same people. Like they're kind of like, you know, like, oh, you think you're better than me and stuff like that. Like, it's like,
that's
it's like,
literally
whoa,
it.
whoa,
No,
what
that's literally
happened?
it. It's just like, okay, wow, well, okay, well, we're just gonna keep moving forward. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that that's also another thing that kind of like obviously irritates people. It's just like because we've been in circumstances that have just been rough, just rough. And the fact that we're still like pushing it, I feel like that bothers them too. And that alone just kind of frustrates me because it's just like, dang, dude, like you can be with us as we're going through these like times, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's like being at the table while there's nothing, and then the amount of people that are at the table when everything's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
it's just like
People also want you to be like, they like to see you like in a
Struggle.
chaotic, struggling mindset too.
that.
Like they don't really like that. Like if things are going south, then you are still trying to have like a light,
Like a
perspective.
positive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, you're still kind.
Yeah, no.
You know, people kind of like see that as like triggering, or they see it as like they try to paint you out as like a fake person when it's like, dude, like
Right.
I'm not gonna make the situation worse by like
Being negative.
being negative,
Like, what?
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you just have to be understanding of like, you know, that mentality too, because once again, like when you are like, and like it's crazy because like we're literally like regular people,
Facts.
but it's like with other people, certain people, like they kind of like have like this image in your head. So it's like if you do speak out and if you do actually share like a normal emotion in like a way that like is valid, but it may not be like, you know, socially like let's say like if you show like anger in a way, like it might
Your content's usually not like that. What's going on?
yeah, like it's like kind of like you can't really express your frustration unless you are already like doing that type of stuff in the beginning. But if like, oh, now all of a sudden like, oh, you're mad about this person saying this, or like not even mad, like, or if like you just have something to say, or maybe it might just be correcting them or something like that. But like people will be really quick to spin a story on you if they feel like they have enough like to say.
Yeah, definitely,
you know?
for sure. It's like
So.
you cannot be. It's almost like not perfect, but you have to have control. You have to have control. And like again, like he said previously, about the fact that like when you do if you don't have that type of like audience that sees you as like emotional and things like that or whatever, they kind of already paint this image like, oh, okay, like this is what you do, this is who you are. And then like the moment you step out of character, they're like, whoa, what's going on, man? Like, that's not you. That's not you. And it's like, what? Like,
who am I?
Right,
like, who am I supposed to be to you and stuff like that. I've had people like literally DM me and be like, when I respond back, they'll be like surprised that I'm like a kind person. They'll be like, bro, I thought you were gonna be like stuck up and not answering me and da 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 da, and just be kind of like that type of person to just make the content and not even like actually try to help the community. And I'm like,
yeah,
bro, what?
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point of why I'm doing what I'm doing. I didn't expect it to be like a viral thing. Like it wasn't something I was trying to like go viral on. It was just like I still watch like videos on like photography, learning stuff. It's just I search up different things now.
Yeah.
But like when I was in the beginning, like I was trying to find like the videos I make now is like what I was trying to find like before, and like but people would gatekeep and like people wouldn't really like tell you what you needed to know. And like even last night I actually got this DM from somebody and they were like, I've been searching on YouTube for so long and like on these like Canon tips and like I literally found everything in like your one video. Like I was just like,
That's
dang.
awesome.
Like yeah.
I love hearing like
Stuff like that.
Stuff like that warms your heart. It kind of makes you like, oh, I want to keep going.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, oh, I'm actually doing something like to like, you know, help these people. I'm making a difference. In
I love that.
It seems like you're serving as an inspiration to people, right? And I want to know from both of you, who inspires you guys? So whether that's like shows, if it's celebrities, if it's your family, what are some things that are currently inspiring you at the moment or have inspired you in general?
So I don't really look up to any celebrities. I think one thing that does, I guess is myself. I know that's crazy, but like,
No.
I pretty much look at myself because I always had this vision of myself where I'm just like, I envision this man like standing on top of this water and I'm like underneath the water and I have all these chains wrapped around me, right? And as I'm underwater, every time I feel like I'm improving, a chain will break. And so I get closer to the surface. Yeah. And like the person that I want to be is just looking down at me. He's like, yo, like, you're doing good, you're doing great, let's keep going. And that of itself just like inspires me to like want to do more for myself, and knowing that I can be so much more.
Yeah.
Because I see myself in a position where I'm just like, dang, like I made it. Like now I'm the person that who I wanted to be, who I wanted to become. And that alone inspires me so much. And
you already know.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm just confident in myself, and I'm just like, yeah, no, I know who I'm supposed to be. And as long as I continue down my path, that's where I'm going to lead to. And yeah, I'm just excited. Now, motivation. Now, people who give me motivation, Brown Les, and then freaking Eric Thompson.
Okay.
Eric Thompson. There are two motivational speakers, and they always talk about uplifting yourself and like going through hard times and just never looking back, and just like no matter how bad it gets, just keep moving forward. I love them. Those are the people that really inspire me. I sent a video to Ely and them. I'm sure they didn't see that shit. But regardless, those are the people that inspire me. I've been watching them for years. And then also another motivational person is my mother, of course. My mother for sure. She's been hardworking ever since she was young, since she was 16, working 3 jobs, moving out. All you know how parents are. They're like, I was going through the trenches. So, my mother for sure. Shout out to Mom. Crystal Waite. Yeah, no. She definitely inspires me. I guess so. I guess she inspires me, or whatever. If she ever hears this.
Works.
Yeah. Gonna be on my head. Yeah, no, she definitely does. She's been a workaholic ever since she was young. Like I said earlier, working 3 jobs and moving out at a very early age, and then like going to the military, then after going to the military, freaking working for the government and just all this other stuff. And then like she just never complained. No matter how bad it got, she just never complained. She just said, all right, I'm gonna just figure this out. You know what I mean? And I just love that about her. Always did. And I think that's where I got it from, because she's just, when she says she has bad days, she's like, she'll cry it out and then just said, all right, fuck it, let's get it. I was like, damn, Mom, like, you don't want to like feel your emotions. She said, no, there's work that is needed to be done. And I'm just like, that's real.
Yeah, and I think in a way she is like feeling out her, like giving herself that space to cry.
Oh, okay, you know what? Yeah,
that's
you're
enough.
Right, you're right.
Like, you know, there's some people that are like, we ball, that's it. Like, they don't take time to do anything. But I really applaud your mom. I mean, I had young parents as well. So like my parents had me at like 24, 25. And like my mom was teaching and my dad was doing stuff in technical school and stuff like that. And so me, like I was not planned. So it was like, you know, like but
how that conversation went.
Yeah.
Seeing my parents do everything together, like they've been together since they were like 8. So seeing them do everything together, but also on the opposite sides of the spectrum, where my dad and my mom are completely doing something different, but they were both bosses in what they were doing.
What I like to hear.
Like, when it came to me and my sister, it was like, we're at. Like, like we don't have to be, you know, whatever people expect successful things to be. Like that traditional success was never set. So it was literally like, you do what you want to do, and if you're good at it, that's it. That's literally everything my dad says. He's like, I just want y'all to be happy. That's literally it. And how you choose to be happy is the way you choose to be happy.
Probably.
So
I would have cried. If I was told that, I would have cried. I'd be like, fuck. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I wonder if I was told that, if I would be doing what I'm doing though, honestly.
Well, what are your inspirations?
Boy, better.
When it comes to like the way I choose to live, it's just, I guess, the idea of chasing like the highest version of myself. And really, I guess, not in like the religious sense, but in the spiritual sense of like God, and like trying to live like God, as in like, you know, the idea of God is that like God is supposed to be very graceful, and like, I guess in a way of like, I know, I feel like religion makes it like a fear of like, you know, making mistakes, but then in the spirituality sense, it's like you know, you are free to believe and live the way that you choose, as long as like you are within your own like
you're doing your
self.
purpose.
Yeah. It's like,
I'm the same way.
Yeah, living through your purpose is really where like when it comes to like how I choose to try to live through these life experiences and things like that. But when it comes to, I guess, like my mentality, I would say Ian inspires me since I'm around him all the time, like 99.99% of the time. And so Ian and my dad, I would say for sure.
Shout out, Dad.
Shout out to my dad, man, because he's the reason why we're all here in the U.S. He's the reason why any of us are doing anything. So like watching him like hustle every day, and like also like I know he keeps so much things like behind closed doors, but like watching that and knowing that like and seeing it over the years has definitely pushed me to do more and better. Because I've just seen him just like do everything and like handle it on his own and stuff like that. And like, you know, that definitely like makes me one want to be able to repay him for everything.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
And like two, like be able to be like that for my family one day if I decide to have a family in this day and age. You know. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But and then when it comes to, I guess, like,
I feel like you'll be a great father. Sorry, my father.
I hope, you know, I mean, I definitely strive to be for sure. Like, I definitely want to be like a father that like appreciates the idea of freedom and like that, like, you know, provide that safe space for my children and my wife to like feel like they're free in their own like ways of thinking, and that we're not really trying to judge, but we're trying to like guide.
Totally.
But in terms of like celebrity influence, I guess, like in terms of like just who's had an impact on me, Michael Jackson for sure. Like he's the only like celebrity that has actually made me like truly like just inspired to be like, I don't know, like I always wanted to like have that same influence on one person the way he had it on
that
me.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean?
MJ
like,
is big for everyone.
Yeah, like he truly like I got into dancing because of MJ and stuff like that. Like I never would have been expressive in that way.
I was about to do a Michael Jackson reference, but I was like,
and then in terms of like, so I guess being comfortable with expressing myself was from Michael Jackson. Then when it came to being expressive with my art, it was Kanye, for sure. Because unapologetically himself, regardless of like, you know, things that like are controversial with him, like I can respect his unapologetically like his authenticity to himself, like that genuinely like makes me, you know, be the same way, I guess, in a way, like, or at least like it like at a young age and inspired me to like not be conformed to a one way of thinking, and like it's okay to be like the weird kid, because I used to be like, damn, like I'm like the guy that's always like why am I not like, well, I wasn't like I wanted to be like a popular kid, but I was always
like the odd one out.
Yeah, like why was I like the guy that motherfuckers would be like, yo, he's the nerd or he's the whatever, like why am I that role? Like I was like, you know what I mean? But I like, for me, Kanye kind of made that cool for me, especially watching his documentary, like and watching how like where he was then and how everyone just kind of looked at him as a producer when he really knew that he was a full-blown artist. And like I could relate to that because like being a photographer and especially working with like people with a certain status, like people definitely will try to make you like, oh, you're just there to take pictures. And like I experienced that so much. No, you're fine. Like I experienced that so much. Like even with like friends too, like they would just kind of just make it like, yo, like your purpose is to take pictures, like you're not. And I would explain to them too, and it's like one of those things where it's like I tried to like be like, yo,
my purpose is so much, how can you tell me what my purpose is gonna be?
Right. But
that's so crazy.
It's a sense of entitlement too, and that was like something that like I kind of wish I knew about going into like working with like people like that. But now I don't assume that everybody is gonna view me like that, because then it's like you kind of like diminish certain, like you don't want to have like a perspective on someone that you've never met before just because of like your bad experience. Like one bad apple doesn't make everything like rotten. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, rotten. And so I try to like really carry that with me, and even with those people that like did like kind of like hold me in those kind of ways, I still try to be very graceful with where they are in life, and kind of just like where their mentality kind of strive from their own life experiences. You never really know like where people kind of develop their ways of thinking from, whether it's from like trauma or like being broken or being let down in their own ways, like kind of makes them like treat others in like a similar way, whether they realize it or not. Some people aren't just totally conscious of that. So I kind of try to be aware of that as well, and not try to take it into like a personal standpoint, and just kind of like view it as like, you know what, like I understand that like you are who you are, I am who I am. I won't let your way of viewing me determine who I want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in that same sense, I want to know from both of you, because like we've talked about, you guys have definitely done a lot, worked on a lot, been through a lot of different trials and tribulations. What have been some of your favorite projects or just your favorite memories right now in this present moment?
Favorite memory? That's a lot. There's a lot. There's one memory that Ellie doesn't know that, or he didn't know that I was aware of, but freaking there was a time when Bree was over, and like I was like going through a lot, and when Bree was over later that night, you guys walked out, but before you walked out, like Bree was like, "Oh, look at Ian sleeping and stuff." And I don't know if you were the one who pat my head or something, but you said like, "Yeah, I would like die for this man." And I literally, I was about to cry. I was literally about to cry, and I was just like, I would literally die for you. Like, I was like, so when you said that, I was like, my heart and everything, I was like, I love this man so much.
Ride or die, man.
And so,
no, really.
That was probably one of my favorite memories for sure. That's like something I'll probably never forget. Going to Cali.
Oh,
going to Cali. There's definitely the incident of when Ellie and I and Jalessa and Jaden, we got in this what was it, a Mustang?
It was Camaro.
Camaro, and it was a drop top Camaro, and it was like a movie. It was like a movie, literally. And he didn't have to do that. He did not have to do that. But he did. And we were going to In-N-Out.
First time trying In-N-Out.
Yeah, and it was good. In-N-Out was good. I enjoyed it.
Not sponsored.
But we went to we got in his car, and Jaden started speeding, and this might be controversial, but I like racing. I like speeding and doing all that jazz. But either way, no, he was like speeding, and like the windows were down and everything, and like it was just so. And I think the sun was setting too. The sun was like just setting, and I was just like, wow, this is like a movie. This is literally like a fucking movie. And yeah, I'll never forget that. And not only that, like gas over there is crazy.
Yeah, I've seen the prices. I'm good.
Yeah. So him like driving like that, you burn gas. You burn a lot of gas. And so I was just like, dude, like gas over there is already expensive, and you're driving this fast for us. I was just so happy.
Making that experience in that moment for y'all.
Yeah, he did. And he kept doing it.
He took every single moment that like he saw us like just have like a little bit of joy in. Like he made sure it was like a whole experience for us. Like
I love that.
Like he definitely went out of his way to do that for us. And I really did appreciate that, because I was like, man, what? Like he knew it was our first time in Cali. Exactly. He was like, nah, we gotta make this like an enjoyable experience for them.
Then what else? I mean, I can name so many like memories. There was like a time when I had a rap battle in my room. Yeah, Ellie was there. He got defeated. But there was a rap battle in my room, and it was super competitive. That was funny. And then I mean, I can go on for days.
You have so many.
No, there's so many memories with Ellie. It's actually ridiculous. The time when we went to a concert, and all our shoes got fucked.
Oh, you know what? That was that day was probably like a very key moment for me, honestly, because that was just like a day where everything was so unplanned for us, and there was so much but it was just like, and that was just like that whole era was just so, every day was just like that era was like probably like just that whole era. If I could make that into like one memory, I would, because it was just like every day was just like we woke up, we didn't know what we were gonna do, and like this one I was like spending the night at his place like all the time, like bro, damn near like every day of the week, bro. And like we would just wake up, didn't know like what we were gonna do, that there was always something to do. Like
just open our eyes.
Yeah, and that night though, like it was just so much freedom, I guess, like within that, especially when we found that like random like underground party.
Oh, and not only that, he got pictures with the cops.
Yeah.
We were at Zaxby's.
Yep.
I forgot the girl's name or whatever.
Dang, was it Officer Gonzalez? She was a Hispanic, but I don't want to generalize, but I'm pretty sure it was Officer Gonzalez. I do still have the photo of all four of us, and we were at Zaxby's, and we just ran into these officers. They were just enjoying their night, and I don't know how we came about, but we just started talking to them, and they were really sweet, and like we were just like, "Yo, you want to hop in this picture?" And like we just took a picture together, and it was like they were like, "Yeah, man," like, I don't know,
so random.
yeah, it really was. But that just goes to show like just like how like because and there's another thing because like people kind of forget like and even sometimes me like I forget like cops are people.
Yeah,
like, they are people. Like regardless, we know how the justice system is, for POCs and stuff like that. But like it's just like there are people behind those badges. Not like the role of a cop maybe nowadays has been like pictured to be like a bad connotation or a negative connotation behind it, but there are definitely good people who play those roles still, and like so that was an instance where we did meet some like really genuine souls.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I cut myself on some glass and I was breakdancing that night too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Y'all just live like as creatives. You guys live such creative lives too, and that's the crazy part. I feel like when I hear about all these different like influential people talking about their lives, I'm like, this stuff cannot be real. Like y'all cannot be going through this all the time.
It was rare. Yeah, I know. Literally.
Clearly, I was wrong. Like,
life be life, man.
Together, life it's always crazy.
Don't know what's
always
gonna
something to happen, which is why we always tend to like. Now we got a little bit better. I don't think it's as intense. Because that era was definitely it was just
that's
like,
when everyone was around though too. We had so many like energies.
so many things to do.
You know what I'm saying? Like there were so many energies that we had to like we were tapped into and all that.
That was so wild. Like that. If someone was to film that, that's a movie.
It was such a movie. It was definitely
such a movie because so much transpired during that time too.
For sure.
Like what?
Life-changing stuff.
And speaking of life-changing, I know you guys have a lot of stuff coming. I'm a firm believer of I'm not speaking on it until it comes out, so you can't ruin my plans.
Yeah.
But
I need to be better at that because I'm totally the opposite. I like to tell people like, hey man, or like my circle.
Yeah.
What's that's what I should say. Like
different.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys, for people who are looking to be, let's say, not necessarily in your place or in your spaces, but people who are wanting to just like come up in whatever they're wanting to do, what are some words of encouragement or advice that you just like to give?
Wow. Honestly, do not let anyone's opinion define who you are. Don't let anyone do that. And no matter how hard it gets, keep moving forward. Because sometimes, even me to this day, there has definitely been moments where I'm just like, I don't want to do this. There's like moments where I'm just like, this is really tough for me right now. But in the back of my head or my inner voice, it always tells me like, but if you keep going, you never know what's going to happen next. This could be the day. So if you do want to get into content creating, you want to get into acting, modeling, or whatever field within the arts, just know that you are going to have to persevere. But I promise you, if you keep going, there's definitely going to be a reward at the end. And the ones that are patient tend to usually get the award. Because I mean, that's my advice for them. Just keep going, just keep moving. Because like, shoot, dude, because like, and there's definitely gonna be times where you're gonna feel stuck. In those moments, that's when you really have to push hard. It's just like working out, honestly. It's just like the days you don't want to work out those are your most vital days to work out. So just be mindful of that. Understand that if as long as you have a goal in mind, it's possible, no matter how crazy it is. Don't stray away from it, face it. And always keep your head up. That's corny as hell, but like, I'm so serious. Keep your head up. And like, even if no one understands you, that's okay. As long as you understand what can happen for you, then that sounded crazy. What can happen for you, then that's that's what really matters. Don't worry about anyone else. Don't worry about what they have to say. Don't worry about what they're doing. And also be careful of comparing yourself. Everybody's on a different journey, okay? Some might get it sooner than you, okay? That's totally okay. Observe them, pay attention to them. Like, don't feel jealous or envy ever, because like you never know when what that might not last forever. You never know. And also too, if you bring bad energy on someone's come up, that energy might come back to you. Just understand that. So always have a positive outlook on things, and always support the people close to you and the people that have been riding with you, and never switch up ever, because you will get your turn. I promise you that, as long as you continue to do, again, the things that you need to do. And yeah, and just keep on dreaming, because dreams can come to reality.
For sure.
I'm trying to figure out what he didn't cover. Like, you know what I mean?
For starters, you have to find what you love first off. Like, first try to just find something that you genuinely have a love for. And then once you find that, like, you'll already naturally want to be the best version of yourself in that way. You should already kind of have that, like, I want to, like, if it's like, if it's music, then like, you know, you would want to like create the best music you can create and stuff like that. So one, find something that you love and just work hard at that, and then everything that you're looking for will come to you within time. And
time,
yeah, for sure. And just cancel out all the noise, because you do have to kind of like focus on what you want to do. It's like, it's really easy to get distracted when you're trying to chase your dream. There's so many things like that are going to tempt you, distract you, and like kind of take you away from. But like, as long as you keep yourself grounded, or surround yourself with people that help keep yourself grounded,
birds
like
of a feather flock together.
yeah, like
Lock in.
yeah, literally just lock in. And there's a saying where it's just like one day or day one. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
And I was thinking about this earlier when you were saying, this might sound kind of corny, but I was thinking about this when I was speaking to someone about something. And I was like, I'm sure this is advice that they've heard 1,000 times. But then I keep realizing I'm not the only person in the world. And let me like go into detail about that.
Yeah.
I know that there are like little kids and people who have literally never heard their advice a day in their lives. You know what I mean? Of like,
That's true.
be yourself and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I really can't tell what people have heard and what people haven't, especially as I get older and keep going. So like, in shifting my perspective of what unique thing can I say? Some people really just need to hear the thing that you think someone's never or always have heard before, because they may have never heard it.
You know what? I'm glad that you said that, because there's one phrase that I've been learning when, you know, not dealing with people, but talking to people. I'm proud of you. That
I say that every episode to whoever I'm talking to.
Oh,
really?
And y'all,
That's
I mean,
so
I've
sweet.
said that to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, that's such a big phrase, because you never know who needs that. And it's in that same similar phrase. And I want you to continue what you were saying.
Well, I was just saying, yeah, I used to like not ever really say it. I only said it when I felt like it was needed to be said, because I always felt like it would lose its value or its weight when you constantly say it. But then as I went on with my journey with people, I have learned that some people really do need to hear that, and like that they're doing good, like just like getting out of bed and things like that. And this is going into the realm of like people who are, you know, dealing with depression, anxiety, and like things that they have to do on a daily basis, and et cetera, et cetera. But the point is that like I was so like, why would I say I'm proud of you when like for like little things and stuff like that? But then later down the road, as I was saying before, when I got to talk to certain individuals, and when they were telling me their story, and then like one time I was just like, wow, I'm really proud of you. And then they just gave me this whole lore. It was like, you know, like I never ever hear that. I never get that, you know, and I try every day. I try to, you know, it's hard to get out my bed. It's hard to like, you know, function and do certain things and certain tasks and stuff like that. And then also my parents never really, you know, told me stuff like that. And so I was like, it changed my outlook on that. Cause like for me, I'm just like, I guess like for me, I feel like if someone says I'm proud of you, like I have to feel like, oh yeah, you know what, I did
Feel
work
it in
hard.
my chest.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like I have to feel that, and that's just me, like something to be proud of. Like there needs to be something to be proud of. And so, but however, even the little things you do, you know, as I got older and I, you know, wiser, I was like, you know what? Okay, yeah, I am proud of you for like eating. I am proud of you for going out and socializing. I'm proud of you that you did this and did that. And like it really impacts it, like it impacts like their emotions. They be like emotional, be like, oh man, like I think I'm really glad you said that. And I was like, wow, like man. And then it made me sad too, because I was like,
You realize how many people haven't had
heard
that.
that. Yeah. And I was like, wow, like that you know, because I know. And then I started thinking about the feeling too, like whenever my mom, like, and she rarely says this, like, but when she does say it,
It
like,
means a lot.
It means a lot. I'd be like,
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I learned that, and I just wanted to, I guess, piggyback off what you said, like certain phrases and stuff like that, because I was like, yeah, that one phrase, "I'm proud of you," I was definitely, yeah, I had to learn through trials and errors with people about that, because I remember I used to have like, I guess, discussions. It was like, why would I say that? And then later on, I realized, no, you're right. So maybe I shouldn't have said corny, because there is people who haven't heard those type of phrases or been around those type of people. So
yeah. And I already told y'all I'm proud of y'all regardless.
Oh yeah,
I have another phrase that I'm going to say at the end, which we're kind of near wrapping up. So I want to go ahead and take this time to show gratitude to both of you for really coming on here and sharing your stories about what it's like to be a content creator, but also to just be human and be in a creative space, or with the creative mind and what that does. And a phrase that, if you haven't heard already, which I'm pretty sure you have, but this is my other phrase that I like to tell people, which is just thank you for being you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And it makes people be like, oh, well, what did I do? Exactly. Like I feel like there's so much that you can always say thanks behind. And so I always try to be general and say, thank you for being here. Thanks for everything, because I want you to feel like what you did mattered. That's what I'm saying thank you for. It doesn't matter if you're a barista giving me my drink. It doesn't matter if you were a janitor mopping the floor next to me. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. And I really appreciate everything that you guys have done and just everything that you guys are, which is why I'm saying thank you for being you.
Thank you for being you. That's so sweet. What the heck?
Well, you know, it's your boy.
Wait, can I say one thing? Like, one more piece of advice, because this is the one thing that put me on game for real.
So I'm pondering it in the back.
Yeah, I was thinking about. I was like, nah, I gotta say this one thing, which is learning from your elders, but listening to the youth is what's gonna really like change the game. Because like the elders know like what was and what has worked, but the youth know what will work. So you really need to find that balance within both, and that's what's really going to help you propel. You know what I mean?
That was dope.
No, it really was.
Where did you get that from?
My brain. Like
you're
for real.
The presence. It's like what was, what will be, and you're the what is right now. Yeah.
The youth know. Listen to them boys.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Of course.
One last question. What can we follow you guys on so we can follow your journeys? So we can know what's next.
So you can follow me on IG, Instagram, Nerdy Ian, Nerdyian. It's not Nerdy Dylan. I don't know how people get that, but it's Nerdy Ian. Yeah, I literally had incidents of people like, oh, is it Nerdy Dylan? I was like, no, it's not. Or oh, and then TikTok, Nerdy Ian again, but this time the I is a 1.
Okay.
So yeah,
he got all Aquila and the Be Honest real quick. I was like, for what? But that makes sense.
Yeah. Instagram as well, Ely Honkpo, ELYHONKPO on all platforms. But you can TikTok as well. But we'll get on YouTube. You'll see all that.
Okay.
You know. But yeah, that's for me.
No, I thought I was gonna say something after that.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode, but a new segment of the Intentional Intern podcast. Tune in next time for another episode of a Students Declassified Market Supporting Guide. Let us know what you think about this new segment, as well as what or who you would want to hear from next. Have a good one.